Hello, this is my fish room tour on August 3rd, 2015. First is my 55-gallon tank. It's a Lithonia T8 shop light, 32 watts, 2 Daylight Deluxe bulbs, 2750 lumens each, over a relatively empty, shallow water setup with Richeflutens, some spiral vallisneria, L144 plecos, and all Thailand fancy guppies, black gold lace. I just imported these guys, well, guy and ladies, and they're doing really well. They've already dropped fry, and the nice thing about shallow tanks like this is that fry survive really well. So there's a bunch of fry in there, and basically every single fry that gets born will live, because when they're initially born they hide in the risha, and the shallow water just really increases fry survival. There's not a lot of current. Technically there's a really long air stone in the back of the tank, but that's just because sometimes for some setups I fill the water all the way up to the top, and with deep water you need current to have the oxygen flow around, but with shallow water like this, that back airline's unnecessary. So all these fry. You're trying to make more fry, aren't you? Good fish. Alright. So, they do not want to be videographed. Okay, but come here, you're pretty. There you go. So that is the black gold lace. And that's this tank. Maybe the L144 plecos will spawn in that cave. Maybe they'll spawn underneath it. It seems to be what they want to do. Maybe they won't spawn at all. I don't know. Alright. This is where I hatch killifish, in this little container. And here's some of the hatched killifish. This is a stand that is very tall. I'll zoom out so you can see the door. It's as tall as a door. And next to it sits my vinegar eels. To harvest the vinegar eels, I pour them through a coffee filter into this container, and then shake the coffee filter out into the fry tank, or I can't reach all the fry tanks, they're too high, so I shake them out into this cup and pour it in the fry tank, and then put the liquid back in the container. I also have a backup container because if you harvest from vinegar eels twice a day for 4 weeks, they start to run low. So I have a backup container for when I have fry continuously. And if you switch between that one and that one, you have enough vinegar eels to harvest all the time. Forever. Well, maybe a third one for, I don't know. Anyway, but, so this is Hypsolebus magnificus. Hatched them on July 10th. And they are doing pretty well. They're eating flake, and they've got big fat bellies. It's very hard to video fry, so I counted and it looks like there's a few dozen in there. I don't know. You never know. Oh well, but so there's Myriophyllum pinnidum is the plant species, and then there's some of the ever-present cladophora on the bottom. And that just kind of, oops, sorry there. The cladophora algae came with me from Ohio, and I'm in North Carolina now, so it's just kind of stuck there forever in all my tanks. Can't get rid of it. Okay, these guys are Hypsolebus flammeus novaroma, and they were hatched on July 19th. It's August 3rd now, and I've just switched them to flake because it looks like they're taking it. You can tell if a fry is eating your food because their bellies change like crazy, so you can see if they're puffing up, they're eating it. So after about 2 weeks or 3 weeks is an okay time to try to switch foods. I do not know if I'm going to be able to video these fish. I think the algae helps. They like to pick at it, but the Ludwigia is the workhorse. That's what's eating all the nitrogen in the tank. So, baby fish. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Sorry guys, not every fish can be captured on camera, but there's a lot of them in there. You know, fry. Okay, so that's that tank. And then there's this one. This one has Spectrulebius chacoensis PA in here. And this is a neat fish. Let's see if I can find some. They were hatched. Oh, there's one. They were hatched on... Did I write it down? No, I didn't. Note to self. Write more things down. They were hatched a month ago? Or 2 months ago? Where are they? I'm gonna see if I can find some. Well, they're a black fish with blue on them, which is one of my favorites. So I think I'm gonna keep them around. Oh, there's some. I think I'm going to keep them around once they reach spawning size and have this be like a colony tank for them. Alright. And then there are the angelfish. These are angelfish that I took in because their owner, you'll notice I don't have any adult angelfish anywhere. Their owner was going on vacation, so I said I'd take the fry. And so far so good, there's no deaths yet. Doesn't look like there's going to be. They went from fry to juvenile to whatever this is. I don't know. Hello, angelfish. Hi. Teenager? Sure. Without any deaths at all. So that's good. You can see the tank setup is a bare bottom with some plants. I use Risha flutens. See it floating on the surface. Risha flutens, and there's some Myriophyllum in there, not competing as well as the Risha. I actually haven't done any water changes at all in this tank in the past month, because if you nitrogen balance your tank with minimal nitrogen, or rather protein input, and lots of plant growth, you might not get nitrate accumulation, and you definitely won't have ammonia if you have plants actively growing. So this tank is water change free, healthy fish, no deaths. And they're angelfish, so there is a heater in the back. I normally don't heat my tanks. Like, all of those killifish are unheated, even though there's technically heaters in the tank, because I've noticed they don't care, and I do. Alright, here we have my bucket tank. I started bucket tanks because I wanted to separate male guppies from the herd. And I started noticing that the call tanks, if there was a female in there, the fry survived really well. Like, I was getting more call fry than I was the fish that I was trying to breed. So I wised up and I put fish that I wanted to breed inside the bucket. And so what we have here is blue lace guppies imported from Thailand. They sell for about $10 each, so I was like, you can make more of yourselves. Here's a bucket. And they're doing pretty well. The fry survive well. It's shallow, so this air stone is unnecessary. It's just in there because it was in there for a previous setup. I was trying to increase current to grow macroalgae back when this was salt water. But anyway, so it doesn't hurt anything. Alright, so the bottom is aragonite, because again, this used to be a saltwater tank. The top floating thing is Risha flutens. And the guppies are blue lace, the same as these guys, top tank here. These are also blue lace guppies. There's not much in there. I think it's just a trio right now. But I'm trying to breed them up and sell them. They've been selling faster than I can breed them, so finally I had to stop and say, whoa, we only have 2 females left, and they're not old enough to breed yet. I gotta stop selling them. So it's good when you breed more guppies than you can sell. Or, no, sell more guppies than you can breed. So that's a good sign. These are L144 plecos. They were all born in the tank at this point. I think there's 3 that I started out with. So, I wish they would spawn again. They don't really seem to want to. Not sure why. Oh well. Maybe they're overcrowded. So I stuck a trio in that 55 gallon. So maybe they'll spawn over there. Just them. Not their parents watching. That makes sense, fish. Makes sense. Alright, and then this tank, oh, if I can get back here, is a 75 gallon tank again. And the pleco species in here is the L10A pleco, which are cool. They're cool plecos. They have like lip tails. Hi pleco. They're very still. And the guppy is a magenta guppy, which I'm not sure if that shows up on camera, but it's basically a pink fish. Yeah, that is a pink fish. And it's a neat color, and it's a neat gene. It does weird things. It's like a regulatory gene instead of a gene itself, so you might notice his tail is like neon bluish something. I don't know what's going on there. So, but yeah, so you get some cool things like spotted females. I saw a spotted female in here a while ago, and I removed a whole bunch of the other females, so maybe I can increase the number of spotted females. Try to breed a line with just spotted females. That would be cool. Most guppy females are not colorful or spotted. But you can see, it's kind of obvious which guppies have the magenta gene because they have something weird going on with them. Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe you can't tell. But anyway, so there's the guppies. There's this 75-gallon tank, and I really like the stand because I can have two. I am on a second floor apartment, and I'm not at all worried because so far so good. Haven't heard any case reports of people's stands falling through their floors, so seems like it'll work. So we've got bucket tank, two 75-gallon tanks, the stand of 10 and 15-gallon tanks, the vinegar eels, and this unfortunate setup, which, by the way, yeah, don't buy this stand ever. Just double rack your tanks like that 75s. Because if I had two 55-gallon tanks, sure, I wouldn't have anywhere to store my gravel siphon. Oh no, what would I do? But also I wouldn't have cockroaches. Grr. So, cockroaches. Ugh. Alright, and this is the fish shipping station where I have my cellulose fiber and the results of using that cellulose fiber, and the USPS priority speed boxes. And in the summer, my method is just to put the fish in a Texan tube, which is a type of plastic bag sold by MVP on aquabid.com. Put them in a Texan tube, lay them down horizontal to maximize the surface to water contact, and then put the bag in the priority box and mail it 2 to 3 day shipping anywhere in the country, and it works really well. The fish always survive. I was a little bit worried about these angelfish. I'd never shipped them before, and they're so tall, like up and down. But yeah, so far no death. These are hardy fish. I expected a lot of deaths, not a single death. They ship fine. Yeah. They live in a tank without water changes fine. They're really good fish. Alright, so anyway, I'm still not going to get any though. But so this is the fish room tour on August 3rd. Hope you enjoyed it.